top 10 worst places to live in Florida. Number 10. Orlando. Imagine living in Florida and stepping outside every morning to the sun, the sound of ocean waves lapping on the shore, and a crowd of tourists. If you live in Orlando, you might experience this on the daily. Considered the most touristy city in Florida, if you're looking to move to the Sunshine State to experience a peaceful beach life and hang with the locals, you might want to look elsewhere. But even if you can deal with throngs of tourists, if you're looking for a low cost of living, you might want to steer clear of Orlando. That's because in recent years, it was named one of the worst places to move for millennials by Apartment List, due largely to its insane cost of living. For instance, both homes for sale and places for rent are ranked well above the national median. Number 9. Tampa. If you're looking at making a move to Florida, you're probably envisioning spending your days laying on the beach, soaking in the sun. But what if I told you that there was a place in Florida that experiences thunderstorms nearly 1 out of every 4 days? You might not believe me, but it's true. That place is the city of Tampa. The World Meteorological Organization listed it as having one of the highest percent of days with thunderstorms out of anywhere in the U.S. In fact, every year, there is an average of 83 thunderstorms. Kinda kills your beach plans, right? Want to know what would kill them more? Well, there aren't really any beaches in Tampa. You have to travel to Clearwater or St. Petersburg for a real beach experience, which can take almost 40 minutes. And if you don't have a car, forget about trying to get to any beach at all because Tampa is frequently rated poorly when it comes to its public transportation. Number 8. Panama City. Most people probably don't describe Florida as an ugly place to live, but they might when it comes to Panama City. One of the least picturesque places to live in the state, this city of a little over 32,000 residents was recently rated the ugliest city in Florida. The irony is that Panama City is right down the street from similarly named Panama City Beach, which is actually a quaint little resort town. But Panama City is nowhere near as aesthetically pleasing as its neighbor. However, it's not ranked as being ugly because of trash on the streets or tons of freeways. Instead, residents complain that all of the houses are the same and that tons of McMansions have sprung up, making the city lose pretty much all of its charm and character. But even if you can get past the ugliness of this city, you might want to stay away because of the crime. Violent crime here is high, and it's considered more dangerous than 97% of cities in America. Number 7. Miami. While Miami can be a fun place to visit, we don't recommend looking at it as a place to move. Given current inflation, most of us are looking for ways to reduce our spending, not increase it. And if you're looking to cut back on your budget, we recommend that you stay as far away from Miami as possible. In fact, 24/7 Wall Street recently reported that Miami is the most expensive city to live in the entire state of Florida. To figure this out, they looked at a few factors including cost of living, price of goods and services, median household income, and poverty rates. Miami came out on top, with the results implying that anyone looking to save money should stay far away. The cost of living in Miami was found to be a whopping 10% more expensive than the US average. The median rent and home prices were also found to be significantly higher than national medians. While nationally, the price of a home is about 3.4 times the median household income, for instance, in Miami, it's 8 times the median income. Number 6. Key West. Did you know that Key West is one of the most hurricane-prone cities in Florida? With a population of almost 27,000, residents here face a 16% chance of being struck by a hurricane every year. And while that's on par with other cities like Miami, what makes Key West more dangerous when it comes to hurricane season is the fact that its maximum elevation is only 18 feet above sea level. By contrast, Miami's highest elevation point is 42 feet above sea level. This means that this city is particularly susceptible to flooding and storm surges, and the residents here have to be willing to face the damage that comes along with this. If this doesn't sound bad enough, remember that Key West is an island. That means that when a hurricane comes, it's hard to properly evacuate, and so if you live here, you've got to be prepared to hunker down and face a hurricane head on. Okay. Maybe you're okay with all of this, but what if I told you that scientists have predicted that hurricanes are going to become more frequent and more severe, so the hurricanes that strike Key West may become even more dangerous than ever before? Doom and gloom aside, Key West does have a lot in its favor, like natural beauty and a tight community feel, but given its track record as one of the most hurricane-prone cities in Florida, we vote that you might want to look elsewhere. Number 5. Monticello. Monticello is the only city in Jefferson County which is considered the third most rural county in Florida. The county is so rural, it doesn't even have traffic signals. However, we're not telling you not to move here because there aren't traffic lights. Instead, we're considering it one of the worst places to live in Florida, primarily because of how poorly its school district ranks. This city of a little over 7,000 is part of the worst-rated school district in the state of Florida. Only 19% of the school's children are reading at proficiency. So, if you're looking to start a family, or maybe you have one already, you probably don't want to live in Monticello. In addition to its poorly rated schools, Monticello has a C+ on niche in its crime and safety category. This also doesn't exactly make it a family-friendly spot to settle down in. Number 4. Florida City. While the name sounds nice, Florida City does not embody all the good that Florida has to offer. In fact, this city is one of the most dangerous cities in the entire state, with an average of 3 murders per year. That may not seem like a lot, but when you consider that the population is only about 12,000 people, it's a lot. But violent crime isn't the only type of crime residents of Florida City have to worry about. Property crime is also high, at 5,555 incidents per 100,000 residents. If you're not scared off yet, consider that the poverty rate is extremely high at 31%. Because of this, most residents can't afford to buy homes and instead spend their money on rent that is in many cases overpriced. Number 3. Fort Walton Beach. As we discussed earlier, if you're looking to move to Florida, we can guess that you probably have at least some interest in beach life. If that's the case, we advise you to avoid Fort Walton Beach. This city of about 21,000 is home to Garniers Beach, which has frequently been rated one of the dirtiest beaches in Florida. That's because Garniers Beach has regular health advisories due to high levels of dangerous bacteria in the water. The bacteria found here has been known to cause infections and diseases in humans and comes from, wait for it, human sewage. Are you grossed out yet? Yes, Fort Walton Beach does have decent public schools and reasonable home prices, but we're advising against moving here because it lacks the one thing that every Floridian should have: a clean, safe beach. Number 2. Opa-locka. Although less common in today's age, given the uptick in remote work, many people move cities in search of a new job opportunity. If you fall into that category, there are many places we recommend that you consider. However, Opa-locka is not one of those places. In fact, this town of 17,000 may be one of the worst places to look for a job. That's because Opa-locka has an unemployment rate of 10.5%. That's way above the national unemployment rate of 3.7% and means that the chances of getting a job here are slim to none. In addition, Opa-locka has a poverty rate of 44% and crime is well above the state average. And if you're looking to raise a family, that's even more reason to stay away. Public schools are poorly rated and homes are overpriced given the median income here. Number 1. Lake City. Lake City tops our list because it is widely considered to be the most dangerous city in Florida. In fact, violent crime here is 1,547 per 100,000 residents, compared to 384 per 100,000 residents at the state level. In other words, Lake City has over 4 times the violent crime rate as the average rate statewide. In addition to violent crime, property crime is also high here at 54.42 per 1,000 residents. Given that the entire population of Lake City is only about 12,500, it seems like your neighbors probably won't be the most trustworthy people. But it's not just crime that makes Lake City top our list as one of the worst places to live in Florida. The unemployment rate is also high here, as it's estimated at about 7.7%. That's over double the national level, which is currently at 3.7%. While public schools here are ranked slightly higher than the state average, and being in Florida, the weather is pretty solid year-round, we're of the mind that these things don't offset Lake City's insanely high crime rate and high unemployment rate.